Alright, so I intended to make this video for Janet, but I'm going to make it for everybody. This is the contents of my Altoids tin pocket survival kit. Here's an actual Altoids tin for size comparison. It's the exact same dimensions. On the outside, I have 3 Ranger bands, 2 wrapped around the narrow part of the tin, and then another one wrapped around the entire lid. The purpose of this is to keep the kit watertight. On the top, I have the quick access tools. Columbia River knife and tool Pazoda. I like this knife a lot. I've had it for a long time. It's small enough to fit in the kit, so I put it in. Up next is, I believe, 8 feet of twine. Got this from Walmart. I don't know what brand it is, but I've used it before in bushcraft applications, and so it holds up pretty well. I think the yellow what you're seeing is from the iodine, from the water purification tablets. The color just leached into the cord. But yeah, just basic cordage used for making tools and stuff. Up next is some snare wire. Catching small game, trying to hunt for it in a survival situation takes time, calories, and effort that you're just not going to want to do. So set the snare, set a trap, get yourself something to eat, save yourself some work. Up next is 2 sheets of aluminum foil. What you do with these is take them and fold it into a makeshift bowl, fill it with water, put it on top of a fire. You can boil the water, it'll be safe to drink. So that's the primary application of these. And then up next is a Ziploc bag. This is for, you fill it with water, take the iodine tablets, put it in. 30 minutes later, you'll have water that's safe to drink. This is a ferrocerium rod. I'm sure many of you know, take the spine of the knife, scrape it like that. I'm not going to do it inside the house, but it throws a spark, start a fire. Up next, I have 2 bandaids. Down here in the bottom, I have a straw with 2 ends melted together that has antibiotic ointment. This is just to ensure that, small wounds don't get infected, just basic first aid. Up next is petroleum jelly. This is to enhance the fire starting capability of a cotton ball, or take this, rub it on a metal surface, and it'll keep it from rusting. Up next, we have a flashlight. I pulled this off a multi-tool from Walmart a while ago. It has a magnet, so, it sticks to the tin. But the primary reason I have it is because all you do is you twist, turns on a light, and it's really bright for a light this size, so I figured it was, something good to throw in this kit. What we have next is a Q-tip. I probably should replace this thing. It's pretty filthy, but, precision applicator for the antibiotic ointment, or you could use it as tinder in an emergency. What we have here next is, let's see if I can get it out. Two zip ties and a razor blade. This is a backup cutting tool, so in the event that you lose the knife, you could make a shiv or some other improvised cutting tool out of these. Use the zip ties to, keep the razor blade attached to the piece of wood that you use to make another cutting tool. An additional redundant cutting tool is this little saw blade. Because the knife has no serrations on it, if you have to have a sawing application, the knife's not going to work, so you could use this. I mean, it's pretty small, and the teeth on it aren't very big, so I don't know how good this thing's actually going to be, but something's better than nothing, Up next is duct tape. Pretty self-explanatory. Fix stuff. You could use it as an emergency tinder as well, because duct tape is flammable. Iodine water purification tablets. This is the reason why some of the stuff turned yellow. I don't know if this bag that I taped shut was sealed 100%. I'll have to look into that, but put these in a bag of water. 30 minutes later, the water's safe to drink. Up next is the first part of the fishing kit. I have 6 fishing hooks wrapped up in the duct tape. The reason why I have these is so that the hooks aren't just haphazardly thrown in the bottom of the tin. It's a nice way to manage them. And it lays nice and flat, so I can just throw this in the bottom of the kit, not have to worry about it. And then the last thing in the kit, let's see if I can get these out. There we go. I have 2 needles. I only have one. These are for the thread and the dental floss that I'm going to show you inside of this here in a second. Just for, precise tasks that you need to use the thread for. If you have to, close up a wound with a suture or something, or just any kind of precise task, you can use these. I covered them in Vaseline because this is the third needle I've had in the kit. The first two rusted to the point where they couldn't be used. So I took a little bit of Vaseline, coated the whole needle, and now it's nice and shiny. There's no rust on it at all. Inside of this little Ziploc bag is all the small stuff that I figured it was better to have it stowed away instead of just throwing all this in there haphazardly. What we have here are 6 waterproof matches and a striker. I don't know how waterproof these are. I haven't actually tested them, but just a redundant fire starting method. We have 20 feet of fishing line, 6-pound monofilament. The reason why I chose the monofilament is for size. I wanted to get as much fishing line in here as humanly possible. If I put 30-pound braid, I would not have been able to fit nearly as much. A reason why I wanted as much fishing line as humanly possible is because I have 6 eyelet screws. The reason for these is instead of tying your fishing line in a knot at the end of the stick where the knot can come undone or the line could break, I wanted to be able to space these evenly up and down a improvised fishing rod and make a handrail at the bottom. So if the line breaks, instead of breaking off at the point where it's tied onto the fishing rod, it breaks at the lure. So you lose just that one hook instead of losing all of your fishing line at once. And so I had these little eyelet screws, so making the fishing rod itself wouldn't be too bad. And then down here is a whole bunch of lead split shot weights for the fishing kit. Threw them all in the Ziploc bag because I did not want them haphazardly scattered around the tin. This is just one of the many flints from a Zippo lighter that I threw in here. Really tiny and just emergency last-ditch fire starter. Take this, scrape it against a rock, it'll throw a spark. I have 3 of these in here. This is the wick from a Zippo lighter. Just another redundant source of tinder. If I had it, I figured I'd throw it in here. It's not very little, but it is nice and flat, so it fits in the tin pretty good in terms of stacking it with all the rest of the contents of the tin. Here is just some thread, just, cordage similar to the twine, but a lot smaller for more precise tasks. Dental floss, thin like the thread, very high tensile strength. You could use some heavy duty applications with this and not have to worry about the floss breaking. And then if you needed to create a suture or something with the needle, you can of course do that. And then this is more fire starting tinder. These are Quik-Tinders. They are packed pretty tight, but you take these and kind of fluff them up, and they'll take a spark pretty good and burn for a little while. And then the last thing in the kit is, this is 2 cotton balls compressed inside of a straw with the ends melted. There's no petroleum jelly on these yet, but you can of course take these, soak it in the petroleum jelly, and then just have a additional fire tinder, just in the event that the Quik-Tinders got wet. This thing, because it is in a watertight container, that if the kit gets soaked, you have a reliable way to start a fire. And so I apologize for not putting this all in a nice, neat, coherent stack, but that's the contents of my pocket survival kit. I would not recommend taking this in an airport. Obviously, you'll probably get arrested by TSA, but just about anywhere else you go where there's no metal detector, just throw that in your pocket, take it with you everywhere you go, and then in the event that you're in an unexpected survival situation, you're in good shape.